Now I'm going to have all your clams inside of a container like this. And right now the clam is shut. There is no way you are going to pry this open. Maybe if you had a screwdriver, it is really hard to get this thing open. So what we're going to do is we are going to relax the adductor muscles. And we do that by pouring a little bit of hot water on it. So it'll be sitting in this hot water for a little bit. I'll take it out eventually. You can kind of already see that the shell or the valves are opening up just a little bit. That's just an air bubble coming out. Okay, so I don't think it's not alive. And even if it was, it's getting cooked now. And again, we're going to leave it in there. So I'm going to pause it here. So now that the adductor muscles are fully relaxed, we need to put this in to prevent it from snapping shut again. Now you're going to go ahead and sketch this. You need to sketch dorsal, ventral, anterior, posterior. Now dorsal is pretty easy. Dorsal is the side of the umbo. Ventral is pretty easy. It's the opening side. Remember, dissectors, you don't need to do this. Now, what side is anterior and what side's posterior? Now, you could take a peek in here and try to see, but really the umbo here is going to tell you. The umbo is always pointing to the anterior, or the short side is the anterior side. That means that the long side, away from the umbo, this is the posterior. Now, this is important because you're going to want to open it up on the anterior side first. So to do this, we're going to start by grabbing our scalpel from our tool tray. And again, if you're not using the scalpel, leave it in the tray. Now, what you're going to want to do is you are going to want to cut this adductor muscle right here. So you can kind of see it right there. You're going to want to keep your scalpel near the edge of the shell. So don't try to like cut in the middle. Try to keep it to one side of the shell. Put it on the tray. Don't put your fingers behind it. And don't cut it like a steak knife. You're going to get it and slice, lift, cut, lift, and cut. Now you can take a look. See how this fell out? It's because the adductor's cut. It's not tightening anymore. So you can see how it is now cut right there. There's the muscular foot right there. Okay. All right, so now here's the hard part. So if you look really closely, these two parts are stuck together. The siphons are right in the middle. Do not cut, okay? So do not cut right down the middle. So you're going to want to get your scissors. You could do this with your scalpel, but I prefer you get it with your scissors. And I'll try to get this as close to the camera as I can. And you're kind of want to cut around the siphons. Now you can see the posterior adductor muscle right here. If you want, you could try to cut through with your scissors. Okay. And that's what you want. You want your siphons to end up on one side. All right. Now, don't just yank this open. So you're going to carefully open. And I can still see in the back, like there's this little bit of shiny stuff right there. That's still adductor muscle. So right here, there's still some adductor muscle attached. So I'm going to finish by cutting it. Now look, there is no connection between the top and bottom shell now. Okay, what about the other side? I could still see right there. See, there's still some adductor muscle right there. So I'm going to, again, very carefully use my scalpel and just cut. Now, you want to be careful with the palps. So from here, you're going to want to make sure that the organs end up on one side. Now, I can already see that this is kind of leaning this way. So what I'm going to do is I could take my needle, my forceps, something, and I'm going to scoot the organs kind of over to one side. See the adductor muscle still kind of there. So I'm going to scoop it over to one side. Now, I'm going to gently, okay, I can see the mantle too. See the mantle is still sticking. Okay, so again, I'm very gently trying to scoop all the organs. You can see that little connection right there. Again, just try to pop that off. I can see a little connection right here. Just try to cut that off. See, and now, see, when I open the valve, I shouldn't see any of this coming with it. I'm going to give it a very gentle twist back and forth, and this will pop off like that. All right. So now I can put my clam down. I can take my needle, and I can start pointing out all the pieces. So I'm going to try to do it here a little closer to the camera. So let's start off with some of the obvious parts. Number one, this is the valve or the shell. This is the mantle. This is what makes the shell. Shell is just for protection. Muscular foot. It's this yellowish one used for movement or digging. Now, here's kind of the hard one. You see these little like gray or like light brown finger like things right here? These are the palps. Okay. These are used for sorting food before they enter the mouth. Now the mouth, really hard to see. You kind of got to turn it sideways, but it is right there. It is that little hole, that little opening that you see right there. These are the gills used for gas exchange, and it moves food towards the palps. Underneath here, so if you gently be very careful because it gets really mushy. This bag is the visceral mass. Now, this contains things like the digestive gland, which is used to create an enzyme to break down food. It contains the intestines, which extracts the nutrients. It contains the heart, which pump blood. It contains the gonads, which produce egg or sperm, depending on the gender. All right, so I'm going to fold that back over. All right, what about over here? This is the side of the mouth, so this is the anterior adductor muscle, which you cut through. That means that this side closer to the siphons is the posterior adductor muscle. This means that, again, this is why I don't think about left, right, up, down. This is the dorsal side. This is the ventral side. The siphon closest, so I'm going to try to get through the siphon. The siphon closest to the ventral side, this is the incurrent siphon. The siphon closest to the dorsal side, this other one, this is the excurrent siphon. Incurrent siphon is in charge of bringing in water and food or nutrients, and the excurrent siphon is in charge of removing water and waste. Adductor muscles, either one is going to be in charge of opening and closing that shell. All right, so that covers the clam dissection. All right, a little bit new to this dissection. Same procedure as before. This, take in the tray, take it to the red bucket. Red bucket is right next to me, so I'm just going to go ahead and put it into the red bucket right next to me. The tools, this time, I just need you to take a paper towel. Don't put like water on it, just wipe. Okay, so scissors just kind of open up. Give them wipe, that. Same thing with the needle. Again, dissector, you should be doing this for your material person. Again, it's just a dry wipe. This can go inside the red bucket as well. And the scalpel, please be very careful with it. You're just going to give it a very gentle wipe. Again, just taking moisture off. So just you can just dab it. Shouldn't take you too long. So again, just dab. Finally, I don't need any soap on this. Just take that paper towel. Pick up little pieces, like grab if you can, and just pat dry. All right, and that's it.